So good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me today. My name is Vanessa Goodson. I'm with the Texas Comptroller's Office, Texas Comptroller Public Accounts, and I'm in Texas ABLE program. So I want to welcome everyone today virtually. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and to go over this program and share more information about this program. Just for a few housekeeping tips, today's audio for the meeting can be accessed through your computer's audio by calling in by phone. If you select computer audio, please make sure your speaker or headphones are plugged in. If you do not have sound capabilities on your computer or prefer to listen by phone. I plan to present for about 45 minutes, and I'll take some time at the end to address a lot of questions, and so I'll circle back to that at the end. Okay, so today's agenda, we're going to go over the ABLE background, ABLE program basics. We're going to go into the Texas ABLE program highlights. We're going to go into helpful resources, and we're going to have a question and answer at the very end. Oops. There we go. Okay, so before I begin, I just want to let everyone know, by all means, I'm not a tax attorney, legal advisor, financial advisor, anything like that. So I do have to put that up there because my lawyers request me to. So basically, if you're seeking advice on anything legal, tax, benefit, or investment advice, you'll want to seek professional guidance. And then you want to refer to our program disclosure on our website, which I'll tell you where that is, and I'll be displaying it shortly. So I can only give you advice on Texas ABLE information, but not on any investment or tax advice. So a little bit about Texas ABLE. Texas ABLE is the Achieving a Better Life Experience Act, and it was created by Stephen Beck, which is pictured in the picture to the right. He had a child with disabilities, and he was looking for a way to save and still maintain his public benefits. So he and a few other family members lobbied for about 10 years to get this passed, and they were finally able to get this passed, creating the ABLE Act. So what it did is it created a new savings option for individuals with disabilities, so they can save money in a tax advantage account. And what a tax advantage account means is that if there were any growth in the account, you wouldn't be taxed on that portion. So it's very different than a special needs trust because you're not taxed on any growth. So that's a very important benefit. And then it can be used for qualified disability expenses, which I'm going to cover what those are today. And then you're able to keep your eligibility for public benefits. It also created a 529A, A stands for ABLE, tax code, and basically it's very similar to a college savings plan, which is a 529 plan, but it's A for ABLE, so that's what that is. And then it gave each state the authority to start an ABLE program. So majority of states have a ABLE program, and they're very similar in nature, but that's what this act did. All right, so a little bit, we do have a video, so we'll see if it will play. It's from the National Association of State Treasurers. They provided an overview of ABLE for us, and sometimes it doesn't play, so bear with me. If it doesn't, we'll be okay. Let's see. Go. Oh, no, it's not going to play. Let's see. That's okay. I'll get a better link for that. All right. Okay, so what the Comptroller's Office does is we help administer these programs. So we don't only help with taxes, but we also do the Texas ABLE program. We do the Texas Tuition Promise Fund, the Match the Promise Foundation, the Texas Guaranteed Tuition Plan, the Lone Star 529 Plan, the Texas College Savings Plan. So as you can see, we're very busy over at the Comptroller's Office. So the Texas ABLE program was created by Texas legislature in 2015. It's administered by the state of Texas through the Texas Comptroller's office. Again, we also administer those other 529 plans as mentioned. And then we launched in May of 2018. So we're fairly new. Everything is online. So if you were to open an account, everything would be online. There's no branches or anything like that. So it's fairly easy setup, and I'll describe kind of the ins and outs of online enrollment. All right. So what are the benefits of Texas ABLE? You can save for future and keep your benefits. So before ABLE, you're only able to save about $2,000 without losing your Social Security benefits. You risk losing health care and certain other means tested federal benefits. So that was before ABLE. If you saved over $2,000, you risk losing those benefits if you had that amount. But now that with Texas ABLE, you can save much more and keep your benefits. So you can save up to $15,000 per year, up to $100,000, and retain your SSI benefits. That's a great benefit to have. So we're going to go over some of the program basics. So what is an ABLE account? So an ABLE account is a tax advantage savings investment account for individuals with disabilities. So I mentioned earlier what a tax advantage account is, but it is very similar to a 401k savings account in that nature. So some of the things I covered today will kind of remind you of that. Funds are intended to supplement but not supplant benefits provided through Medicaid, Supplemental Security Incomes, SSI, Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, and private insurance. Allowed to have one ABLE account per benefit. What that means is you're not allowed to have an ABLE account in Texas, but also have one in another state. And so you're only allowed to have one per beneficiary. If there is a family with more than one child with disabilities, each child would have their own account. So that account is actually owned by that individual, that beneficiary. And then, of course, you can use this savings Texas ABLE account in conjunction with a special needs trust. So I'll kind of go over that shortly, but it can be used. You can have both. So who is eligible for a Texas ABLE account? Number one, you have to be a Texas resident to have the Texas ABLE account. And then you have to have developed the disability by the age of 26. So you don't have to be 26 when you apply or under 26. You can be any age when you decide to apply for the account, but you've had to have the disability by the age of 26. Another few requirements are that you have to be eligible to receive SSI or SSDI. So you don't actually have to be getting it, but you have to be eligible is one requirement. Or if you don't meet that requirement, you have to have a condition listed on the SSA's list of compassionate allowances conditions. So what that means is if you go to our website, texasable.org, you can go to the link of compassionate allowance conditions and kind of review what those conditions are. And then you can see if you meet that eligibility requirement. If you don't, there also is, you can have a physician's diagnosis that basically tells us that you have a physical or mental impairment that is in severe nature and is expected to last longer than 12 months. So those are the three options besides a Texas resident and develop the disability by the age of 26. You have to meet one of those three requirements. And all this is listed on our website. And so who can benefit from a Texas ABLE account? It can be the individual with the disabilities who wants to manage their own finances. Of course, they have to be, if they are the individual with disabilities, they have to be at least 18 years old to manage their own account. But they can have an account before the age of 18. That's where the parent would manage that account. So, or you can have a parent or guardian of the minor children or incapacitated adult that can save for when that family member is no longer around. So it can be either individual with disability or the parent or guardian that can benefit from that account. So who can open an ABLE account? Again, you have to be a Texas resident and you have to be at least 18 years of age. And they can open and manage their own account. So you have that option, or you can go and have a authorized legal representative, what we call ALR. So that would be a parent, a guardian, or other fiduciary, such as a power attorney. We have a power attorney form on our website for use. You're welcome to use that, or you can seek a lawyer or anything to get that drawn up. But again, a parent, guardian, or other fiduciary can manage that, or the individual if they're capable of managing that account. So how much money can you put in the ABLE account? You can put up to $15,000 per year if they're not employed. So that's $15,000 from all sources, whether it be the individual or family members of the individual. You can put up to $15,000. If they are employed, they'll have to meet certain qualifications, such as they can't be contributing to a 401k. But if they meet that qualification, they can actually put up to $27,140 per year. So that's the $15,000 from all sources, and then the wages of up to $12,140. So that you can see you're saving a lot more money than previously without the ABLE account, which was the $2,000 in your account. Now you can save up to $15,000 to $27,000 per year. So that's big savings. And right here, you can actually save up to $100,000 if in a lifetime, if you're on SSI benefits. So you can put up to $500,000 in the account if benefits are not a concern. So I'll go over those numbers real quick again. That's $15,000 per year if you're not employed, or if you're employed, it's up to $27,140 per year. $100,000 maximum if benefits are consideration. $500,000 if benefits are not consideration. All right. So again, here are some important SSI considerations. Account balances over $100,000 count as a resource for SSI determination purposes. And that's where, again, I mentioned a special needs trust can be used in conjunction. So you can have a limited amount in the special needs trust, but also use this account as another opportunity to save money. And there are benefits compared to the special needs trust, which we'll go over shortly. So you can kind of see the differences and benefits of why you would have both or just one. So I'll go over that shortly. So at $100,000, any SSI monthly benefits are suspended. So if you go over to 101, they are suspended but not terminated. So at 101, they'll suspend the benefits, and then anything, if it drops below the $100,000 mark, then they'll reactivate those benefits. But again, it's not terminated, but those are just some things to keep in mind, is that balance. Medicaid benefits are maintained regardless of account balance, so that's key there. An individual's own wages count as income for SSI determination purposes, even if they contribute that income to their account. And so what that means is if an individual is able to work while on federal benefits, they are not able to work any more than they already were before they had an ABLE account. So if they, for example, if they're only able to, say, work 20 hours a week or month or whatever, that still applies. This doesn't change any SSI requirements besides how much money you're able to save. So you're not able to work more and put more money into this account because the SSI requirements still apply. So that's important to know. But the good thing is you can now save more of those. If you are working, you can save more of those wages into your account, whereas before you're not able to. So what expenses can you pay from the ABLE account? What we call our qualified disability expenses. So you can use funds in the ABLE account to pay for any qualified disability expenses. And what they are expenses that relate to the individual's health, independence, or quality of life. So you're going to be hearing that quite a bit from my presentation. Again, if it ties back to those things, health, independence, or quality of life, then it is a qualified disability related expense. And that's really up to the individual that's managing the account to determine. And then we'll go over that shortly too. So that includes basic living expenses and not limited to expenses for items in which there is a medical necessity. So some special needs trusts, you're not able to use the money in the account for things such as mortgages, food, clothing, things like that. This account does offer, you are able to use it for any expenses like that. So such as health, independence, or quality of life. So here are those expenses. This is the topics that the IRS gives us. They're not limited to these, but here are some examples. You can use the money in your account for education, housing, transportation, employment training, health and prevention and wellness, legal fees. It just goes on and on. Funeral and burial expenses. So these expenses, again, are identified by the IRS, and if you were ever audited, you would want to maintain the documentation that they are qualified disability related expenses based on the, I'll go back to it, relating to the individual's health, independence, or quality of life. So again, if you can tie it back to that, then that is a qualified disability expense. And in the event, you will need to maintain that documentation. So here's just some examples, but again, it's not limited to that. I've seen people use it for Uber, clothing, things like that. So, all right. On a more serious note, there is the Medicaid payback provision. Okay, so if the individual that has a Texas Able account has Medicaid, and only if they have Medicaid, so they have to have Medicaid for this to apply, from the date that the Able account was opened, so if you opened it today, it would be effective today, Medicaid has the authority, in the event that the beneficiary passes away, to access those funds. So they can access the funds, but before they do, the family can go through and pay for any outstanding bills, such as any of those qualified disability expenses that occurred. They can go ahead and pay those off. They can pay for any deductions that they have, such as Medicaid buy-in premiums. And then they can definitely use them for funeral expenses, such as funeral and burial expenses that occurred. So you can pay all those things before Medicaid has access to those funds. And it's only from the date that the Able account was open. So the funds that they've been paying from the date the Able account was open, they can come and have access to those, but only after these things are paid off. So those are just important things to remember. And that, again, only applies if they have Medicaid. So if they don't have Medicaid, Medicaid cannot access these funds. So it's only in the event that they do. So that's just an important provision to note that applies. So here are some great benefits, a little bit of difference between the Able account and the Special Needs Trust. So cost-wise, the Able account is low cost. And we have an easy online enrollment. I'll kind of cover that shortly. A Special Needs Trust can be very costly to set up and administer. It could be up to thousands of dollars, whereas the Able account, I'll tell you, there's no enrollment fee. And it's just like any other savings account. We'll go into those fees shortly, but it's definitely considerably less than a Special Needs Trust. Using funds in a Special Needs Trust, you generally cannot pay for food, clothing, shelter without affecting your government benefits. Whereas a Texas Able account, you can pay for those qualified disability expenses, which I've mentioned, the basic living expenses, housing, transportation, etc., as long as it applies to the independence, quality of life, or health. You can use those funds. So that's a big difference. Again, you can have both, so I'm not really steering you away from a Special Needs Trust, but I'm just telling you the benefits. And you, like I said, you can use them in conjunction. The maximum contribution is $15,000, whereas you can have up to $100,000 lifetime. If you're on benefits, 500. It says 370, but 500 if you benefits are not consideration. The benefit of a special needs trust is there is no limit that you can put into that account. But the difference is with a Texas Able account, you can actually have funds that grow free of federal income taxes. And any distributions are not subject to income tax if used for a qualifying expense. So again, make sure it's a qualifying expense before you use it. Whereas the special needs trust does not receive any special tax treatment. Income that is generated by the trust assets will be subject to federal income taxes. So again, you can see why the benefits of having both or just one. There are a lot of benefits to it. It's based on the individual situation. So how do you set up an ABLE account? So you go to texasable.org, texasable.org. There's an online enrollment process. It takes about 20 minutes. We do a self-certification process, and what that means is you're self-certifying that individual, or you are the individual with the disability, and you're certifying that they meet this requirement. So you don't have to have that documentation the day you sign up, but you may need that eventually. If we were to come and ask for that documentation, which we do occasionally, you'll need that on file, but you don't need it the moment you sign up, which is definitely makes it a lot easier. There is no enrollment fee, so we don't charge a fee for you to enroll. We do ask that you do a $50 minimum contribution. So that's $50 and you've started the account. And then after that $50 minimum contribution, it's up to you how much you invest in the account. So there are no requirements after that $50, but it is more like a savings account. So that's really up to you how much you put in there. And then you'll choose your investment savings option during enrollment. So I'm going to go over those shortly, but just keep in mind, I can't give any advice on use because I'm not an investment advisor or financial advisor at all. So I can only display the options and tell you where to find information about it. So here are the options. So Texas Able, you have 4 options to invest your money. So it's, again, very similar to 401k. You'll invest it in either an aggressive to moderately conservative, or you can choose a bank savings option. So the aggressive to the moderately conservative, you pick your risk. You can see how each one is performing on our website. That's all displayed. You can change it up to 2 times a year if you choose. There's no charge for that. Or you can choose a bank savings option where you can see it's not really based on the stock market. So you choose how to invest it, and again, you can change it up to 2 times a year. So again, all that's found on our website. You can see how they're all doing and make that decision, or you can seek a financial advisor to kind of help you with that investment piece of it. So how do you put money into the ABLE account? So there are many ways. You can contribute your any funds with a personal or cashier's check. You can do automatic reoccurring contributions. You can set up payroll deductions. You can do electronic fund transfers from your bank. Or if you do already have a 529 plan, such as a college savings plan, you can definitely transfer that over. There is no charge for that, so you'll move all those funds over. For example, there was a mother that she was pregnant and she started a 529 college savings plan, and then she found out her child had disabilities. She can move that money in there, and it can still be used for college and things like that, but it can also be used for other things that she might need for those disabilities. So that's a neat option. And then if you happen to already have an ABLE account in another state, you can move that over and there's no charge. And so all of the rollover forms are on our website, again, texasable.org, and you'll just click on documents and there'll be a rollover form there. You will have to deposit those funds within 60 days. So once you get your refund from the other 529 plan, you'll have to deposit those within 60 days to make sure it's not an accountable resource. All right. And then the best option, I think, is the online e-gifting tool. So we'll go into that. So the online gifting tool is great for birthdays, holidays, any milestones. So instead of grandma handing you $20 and you keeping that when it could be counted as a resource, you can have them put money into the account, and it does still apply that $15,000 from all sources limit, but they can put money in there. So whether it's the individual with a disability, family or friends, whoever can put money into this account, and you just go to the online gifting tool on our website, and you can send them a personalized email and a message and allow them to gift into the account, which is a great option. So that would be great for Christmas or anything like that, birthdays. So how do you take money out of the account? There's an online withdrawal process. So you'll go to the website and do that. You can request a paper check, which is 7 to 10 days. And the reason why it's 7 to 10 days is because you are pulling that money out of that investment. And so that does take some time. You can do electronic withdrawal. It takes 3 to 5 days. You can do electronic fund transfer. You can go to your bank and request a transfer to your personal checking or savings account, and then you can use your personal debit card if that's how you would like to do it. Or we do have an option where you can do pay bills online. So those are some great options of how to use your funds. And then we do have a debit card coming shortly. I don't have a date and I don't have all of the information, but it will hopefully come before the end of the year. So that will be another great option. All right, so important withdrawal considerations. So this is, again, where I told you need to make sure that all the money that you're pulling out is a qualified disability expense. If it is not, then you are subject to income tax on those earnings, plus an additional 10% tax on those earnings. So it would be very similar to pulling out of a special needs trust. So you'll have to pay those taxes on that. So that's why it's important to make sure that the individual is maintaining those records. So the designated beneficiary, or ALR, so the parent, guardian, or power of attorney, is responsible for determining if a withdrawal is qualified or non-qualified, and for federal and state benefit and tax consequences. So that's why it's important that it relates to the independence, quality of life, or health for that beneficiary, and only that beneficiary. So you can't use funds in this account for someone else. So that would make it a non-qualified expense. So money in this account can be used for housing. The only requirement that we're given is that you have to pull the money out the same month that you're using it. And so if you're going to need money for mortgage for September, you're going to want to pull it out in September. You have to use the money for housing related expenses within the same month that you pull it out. So examples of qualified disability expenses for housing include mortgage, including property insurance, real estate, property tax, rent, gas, electricity, water, garbage. Those are all qualified housing expenses, whereas some special needs trusts, you can't use it for these types of things. So that's a great benefit that we're given there. All right, so here are the Texas Able account fees. This again is all on our website. There are no fees for enrollment, rollovers from another Able program, or 529 account, or change of beneficiary, or ALR. So you can, and then you can also investments 2 times a year. So what this fees are, there is a monthly account maintenance fee of $4. And what that gives you is that gives you the opportunity to withdraw from the account up to 2 times per month. So we don't limit how much you can pull out of the account, as long as you have the funds to cover that. But you are only able to pull out 2 times per month. Anything anything in addition to the 2 times per month, they're then charged the $1 per withdrawal. So you can pull out as much as you like in those 2 times, but there is a fee for anything above 2 times because you're pulling it out of investment. So that does take some time. So some of our other fees, if you would like our program documents delivered to you through paper delivery, it is a $10 fee, but there is no fee for electronic delivery. So you can pick that option, whatever option is best for you. And then, of course, there's a check processing fee for each withdrawal by check. So if you'd like that check option, there is a $5 fee, but there is no fee for electronic withdrawals if you choose that option. So it's really up to you and what works best for you. But these are the fees, and again, these are on our website. So that's $4 a month, covers you for those two withdrawals a month, and then anything addition will be the $1. All right, so that's a lot. I've covered quite a bit. Here's a little bit of snapshot of our website, texasable.org. You can go there. You can read our program disclosure, which I'm going to display shortly, but please read that. It covers everything basically I'm telling you today. You can take an eligibility quiz. You can gather any necessary information, such as bank accounts, anything that you may need to have the account. And then you just click enroll. So again, it should only take about 20 minutes. So here are some common questions that we get that I'm just going to go ahead and answer now because we do get these quite a bit. So are ABLE accounts just for people who receive benefits? And the answer is no. You have one of the 3 requirements was you have to be eligible to receive SSI, SSDI, but you don't actually have to be receiving it. So as long as you meet those other requirements, you can have an account. What happens when the account owner passes away? So kind of go a little bit back to the Medicaid drawback provision. If the individual does have Medicaid, that payback provision does apply. But any funds remaining, if they're on Medicaid, would then return to the family members. And then if they're not on Medicaid, that would be the same thing. It would be returned to family members. So just be very similar to whatever the will states or anything like that. What are some examples of qualified disability expenses? So that would be the housing, the rent, clothing, whatever relates to the health, independence, or quality of life. And I know you've heard that quite a bit, but as long as you can tie it back to that is a qualified disability expense. So it's kind of hard for me to limit it down to what it will be because there are so many different options. But literally, as long as it applies for those are qualified disability expenses. Does this program report ABLE account information to other entities? Yes, we do. But by law, we are required to report those. So SSI, SSDI, they all have they have knowledge of the account and what's in it, what is taken out, and all of that. And that's why it's important to maintain those rules. So making sure it's a qualified disability expense, and then the account won't let you put more than $15,000 in it per year. So, but if you do go over that $100,000 mark, they are aware of that, so they can suspend your benefits. So we do report that information. And then, can someone help me choose my investment options? The best thing for this one is you will need to review those investment options. And if you would like additional assistance, you want to seek a financial advisor because they can help you with those investment options. So those are just some common questions that we have because we get them all the time. I thought I'd go ahead and answer them. So here are some helpful resources. These are listed on our website under resources, but you can view the Texas ABLE Act. So basically everything I'm telling you today will be under the Texas ABLE Act. You're welcome to review that. There's the Social Security Program Operation Manual System, what we call POMS. You can review how Social Security treats these accounts and what their guidance is on that link there. So if you want to review that, you're welcome to. You can also review how Medicaid and Medicare treat this account on their link, which again is on our website, but basically tells you everything I'm telling you today, but how they treat the account, and you maintain your eligibility for that. And then we have an IRS publication 907 on tax treatment of able accounts. So it kind of goes a little bit more into kind of the tax consequences if you were to pull it out for a non-qualified expense, and how basically they treat this account, whereas it's a advantage accounts where any is not taxed. So that's important things to review if you'd like. And then the last resource I have is the Texas State Security Board's resource for investors. So if you're a brand new investor, this is the document that I would suggest. It kind of goes into investing and the ins and outs of it. Just to be more informed, you're welcome to read that. But again, all of these resources are available on our website. All right. So how do you contact us? You can contact us here at this number. This is on our website as well, but it's 844-489-2253, or you can either, you can email them at customerservice@texasable.org. So they're available 8 to 5 Central Time. You can ask them any questions you like. More than likely, they're not going to be able to provide you any financial or investment advice, just as I'm not able to. But they can help you answer any questions that you have regarding the account. Like if you're having questions about setting up the account or withdrawals or anything like that, they can definitely help you during those times. And then if you would like to, if you know anybody that might be interested in this presentation, you're welcome to reach out to us. Our number is displayed there, or you're welcome to contact me, Vanessa, and we'd be happy to give this presentation to any other organizations or schools or anything like that that may need that information. Happy to share brochures or anything like that. So questions and answers time. So I'm going to put up the disclosure real quick before we start in the question and answer time. This is the disclosures that I told you about. Please review that, but it is also on our website. But I do have to display it because the lawyers ask us to. So there it is. All right. Let's go for questions now. Let's go see if there's any questions. Chat. I don't think there's any questions. So feel free to put any questions you have in there.
I have a question.
Okay, good.
Okay, is the funeral expenses only for the could be paid by the owner of the account? So can it be used to pay for somebody else's funeral expenses, or only for the person who owns the account?
Only for the individual with the account. So any funds in here can only be used for that beneficiary.
And another question I got was, does a vacation count as quality of life?
Yes, it does. Yes. It only accounts, though, for that individual's vacation. So if they were going to go with more than one person, they would only be able to pay for their portion of that vacation.
Okay. Those are all the questions I got.
Perfect. Okay. That is definitely qualified. It's for their quality, so it definitely qualifies. So, yeah. That looks like we got another question here. It says, so the $50 minimum, is that a payment every month? So great question. So no, it's only a $50 minimum contribution when you open the account. After that, there is no minimum. You invest however often you choose, or there's no requirements. Sorry, my dog's moving around. So, yeah. See if we have any more questions. And I am recording this entire session, and I'm going to share my slides. So you're welcome to have access to those. You can share them if you like. I'm also going to include my brochures when I send over those slides. So if there's any questions after today, feel free to either send them over to me or the customer service line, and I'd be happy to answer those. Okay. So we got one more question. So you do not have to pay every month if you do not wish to. That's correct. You only have to do that initial contribution. After that, up to you. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to send this recording session to you. And I'll stay around for a few minutes just in case anybody has any more questions. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for giving me the time to speak to you today, and I hope everyone found it valuable. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to say this information shortly. Thank you, everyone.